So nowadays, it's very rare for me to get excited about a VST plugin. It's either a copy of a 1176 or a LA2A, or it's a compressor, like a different style of a compressor, or it's a reverb or whatever. But like in the past couple of months, we just got a couple of like great plugins, one of which was a reverb, like a really good reverb from iZotope. And yesterday, Cableguys dropped a new plugin that is just different to everything that already exists on the market. Naturally, I got very excited because I'm using a couple of their plugins and I think they're really good and worth the money that you invest to get them. So let me roll the intro and let's test out this new plugin. All right, so we are now in our trusty Cubase, and this is a beat or an instrumental or whatever you want to call it that I did a couple of weeks ago. Goes like this. There are some like changes. And then you have this portion here, this section. And then you have the chorus, but never mind. The reason why I picked this instrumental or this beat is because it's so percussive, right? And it's like the perfect thing to test out a plugin that every time you open it, it has you waiting for 4 seconds so you can run the demo. Like every time you close it and open it, it does the same. I hate that. Honestly, I hate that. But what I can tell you is that this plugin is supposed to be like a drum shaper of sorts. So it's a trigger. If you ever worked with triggers, I did a lot because I was using live drums a lot in my career, and most of the times they're either not recorded perfectly when I get them, or they just lack a bit of thump or whatever, so you gotta use triggers so you can make them cut through the mix and make them sound like a hit record, right? So let's first focus on the transient side. So you can basically just add whatever. So let's I'm using it only on the snare right now. I'm gonna test it out on other sources, but we're just gonna listen to the snare without anything. Let me mute this. Okay, so this is the snare. All right. So it's very high pitched and it has like some body, but when we add the transient, it literally just adds another sample to it. But the cool thing is that you can actually like pitch it up and down, you can high pass it, low pass it, and you can also use the dynamic section so it would hit the same every time. So like if you want it to be like at full volume every time, you're just gonna be like at 0% dynamics. Or if you wanted to follow the dynamics of the source, you can just like go 100% or anywhere in between. And then you have the width, which is basically just gonna widen the signal. Yeah. Although it does not do anything to your source, as I can see. Yeah, it does not touch your original signal. And then you have the volume section and the phase shifting section where you can basically phase align your sample, your like transient sample to your original sample. So if you don't know how to do it, I might make a tutorial on it. So this is like a 180-degree phase shift, and then you can just like nudge it in like time align it basically. And all that is done by ear, which is not perfect for newbies, I guess, but I mean, it's honestly, it's something that we did for, I don't know, 50 years now, so it's not that bad. But yeah, of course, there are a bunch of different transients that you can choose from. Sure, I mean, I guess you can add a kick to your snares. I like this one. But anyway, the main thing about this whole trigger plugin is going to be, of course, the snapback section, and that's, I guess, why it's called snapback. Now, what this does is it adds reverse sounds to your drums, so your snares or your hi-hats or your kicks, because you can use this on whatever you want to. So before, my snare sounded like this, and when I add snapback, now it sounds like this. Of course, you can pitch it upwards. Of course, you can change the sample, because this one is pretty bad. But this one is pretty cool. And with this plugin, you can basically shape your drum kit the way you want it to sound. So before it sounded like this. Let me just disable the plugin. And with it, without it, with it. And honestly, I like this a lot. The reason is because before, like the old way to do this would be to have two different samples hit at the same time, but one should be like slightly before, and of course you had to like reverse it. It's not the same sound because this is not a reverse sound, but you get the point. And you could have done it and like rendered it, and then you had that snare. But with this plugin, you can just, oh, come on, I gotta wait for fucking 4 seconds again. At least it doesn't have noise that just plays randomly. But yeah, so with this plugin, you can easily do it and easily make your drums. But here's the thing, because I'm not a salesman and I'm not getting sponsored to sell this to you. I want to test it out on different things because I heard it on the snare, and I guess we can hear it on the kick. But what I want to hear is how it behaves when you have an input signal that's a bit erratic and pretty constant, like on hi-hats or whatever. And this is why I chose this beat, because I have these hi-hats here that I made. And I think they sound pretty good. They're not like, they're basically just like hitting muted cymbals. But let's try snapback on that. And let's wait for 4 more seconds, because why not? We love waiting. Error. We are sorry, but another snapback demo plugin instance is already running. To use unlimited instances of the plugin. Oh my god. Really? So here are my hi-hats. And now let's introduce the snapback effect to them. I guess we can just use a tiny shaker. Maybe something else. Oh my god, this is weird. I mean, I guess that's why it's under weird in the special sound effects. Oh, I like this one. This is actually pretty cool. And it suits the percussive element that I'm using it on. Although, I already see a problem with this. So, my hi-hats, the way I did them, I rendered them like that. they are like constantly playing left and right on your left and right channels, right? And this snapback plugin just can't follow them, and it's just going to be centered at all times or panned to the left or the right channel, and that's it. It will not actually try and follow the loop that you have. So essentially what you want to do is use snapback and the transient option, like the whole plugin, on separate instruments, because if not, you're going to get this. Unless you actually want this, of course. Okay, so I have another problem with the plugin already, and that's that the pitch goes only up to 12 semitones. I would rather have it go to plus 24 semitones, because just having an octave is, for me, it's not enough. Because I'm pretty sure that this sound would sound pretty good at like plus 18 semitones with these cymbals or hi-hats. Yeah, sometimes you want to add some like high-end sizzle, and again, without it going up to 24 or even 36, I guess you can use the low-pass and high-pass filters, but it is still not the same as having it go up to like 24 or 36 semitones. But yeah, if you have a static hi-hat that is not going to be panned left and right and just like jump from left to the right channel at all times, this is actually a cool plugin, and you can like use some snapback sounds and some transients to shape that hi-hat exactly the way you want it to sound. But I'm curious to hear and to see, because I gotta see it, what it actually does to the timing of the samples, because we just listened to it in without the beats itself. We just listened to the solo hi-hats, but I want to hear what's actually happening here in regards to like the whole composition and the whole beat. So without it, with it. Okay, so I think I'm hearing something, but it might be just placebo, but give me a second to test things out.
A few moments later.
All right, so what I did here was I recorded the hi-hats, these like solo hi-hats that I have with Snapback plugin engaged. It was engaged, but we gotta wait for 4 seconds for us to click on the demo thing. I recorded this because I wanted to see if this plugin is actually time aligning it, or if it's gonna like nudge my drums to the side. And as I suspected, like this is not something that you can hear that well, but you can see it here. So these are the 2 tracks, one of which, let me just spread them out a bit. Okay, there we go. So this is the original track, and this is where the hi-hat hits, and this is the new track, which is not really time aligned to the original track. This is where the same hi-hat hits, because it has to like render the snapback first and then give us the actual sound. And it happens on every hit. As you can see here, it's basically on every single hit. So this is the original, and this is the new one with the snapback. So basically what it's going to do is going to play your samples a bit later than they're supposed to hit, because it needs to like calculate the timeline and all of that for the transient, plus for the snapback, etc., etc. So keep this in mind when you're working with a couple of snares and a couple of kicks and all of that, because once you enable Snapback, the plugin, it's going to push. So if you have 2 kicks that are hitting at the same time and you enable the snapback on one of the kicks, it's gonna displace it, which means that if the phase correlation between these two kicks was perfect before, it's not gonna be perfect anymore. So you will need to like phase align both of the kicks so they could hit harder. It's the same with the snares and etc. Especially like in hip hop, because the J Dilla sound will mean that the snares are not gonna be aligned to the grid, and they're gonna like either hit like before the grid or after the grid. So whatever you do, like if you use this plugin, it's gonna displace them a bit and it's gonna push them forward in time. And so these are the things that you need to like think about when you're using plugins, and this is why I wanted to test it out, because honestly, I was hoping that it's not going to do this. It's not that bad, but like as you can see here, it is pretty bad. It's like I don't know, like a couple of milliseconds. And you need to know how to recognize the problem and how to deal with it as fast as you can. And that's basically why I wanted to test it out. And of course, I think it's a pretty good plugin, especially for the price, because currently it's on a discount and it's like $30. So for $30, I think it sounds pretty good. I would love to have more functionality out of it, like especially when it comes to pitch. And yeah, other than that, like this thing is just like annoying as hell, honestly. But other than that, it's a good plugin, and I don't know. Oh yeah, by the way, you can like change the attack and the decay of everything, which like it would be just dumb if you couldn't. I would love to see the pitch to go like as high as like 36 semitones. I would love for it to, and this is not an easy one to fix, but I would love if it could like actually follow my hi-hats or my snares or whatever. If they're gonna be like panned left and right, I would love if it would like pan left and right with them. But it would probably delay the signal even more, because it would need to like take its time to like completely examine your signal, because this plugin is basically made for single hits and for hits that are going to be like mono or stereo, but they're going to be centrally panned. But yeah, like I don't know, I like it. Also, there's one more thing. Apparently you can add sounds to it, so let me try and add this sound to it. Oh my god, you actually can. So let me just solo this without the snapback. All right. And now with the snapback. Oh yeah. Okay, you can stop now. You can stop now. Thank you. So I already have an issue with this. It's not a huge issue. I would like to have like a reverse option for the signal, because I fed it like normal hi-hats, and now I can't like reverse them. For a plugin like this, I would like if it gave you that option like out of the box. Sure, you can do it yourself. You can reverse it first and then bounce it and then just like get it into the plugin. But just having a reverse option would be nice. And in the end, there's this whole thing like the trigger, where you can have different algorithms for complex signals and general sound and all of that. Detail, sensitivity of the transient detection increased to capture finer details like fast rolls and ghost notes. That's very I appreciate that, because I worked with a lot of live drums, so this could be a pretty good like trigger. Without the snapback, you could just use it as a trigger, as a normal drum trigger. Then it has a sidechain option, and the tooltip says external sidechain input, useful for triggering only selected hits from an edited duplicate track, which is also pretty good. It's basically just gonna help you out with triggering like live drums and stuff like that. And then you can like select MIDI to be your main trigger, and then the threshold, and that's it. But it's basically what most of the triggers give you. But the whole thing about this plugin is obviously the snapback. But again, I would love to see more functionality in this whole section. Is it worth $30? I think it is, but you need to keep in mind that it's gonna nudge your like you will need to time align your stuff or like phase align it if it's like hitting. I explained it already, but thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons that are supporting me. If you want to support me, the link is down in the description. If you need a mix or if you need a beat or whatever, you also have links down in the description of the video, my website, and my Beatstars. And yeah, again, thank you for watching, and peace out, and mwah, bye.